Hi everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel and to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I am building in the world of Glimmerbrook, which is of course the world we got with the game pack Realm of Magic. And I have to be honest, if I'm not renovating apartments at the moment, I am very much in my tiny house era. I just love how quick and easy they are to build, and I am right at the end of finishing a book. I'm probably going to finish it later today from when I'm doing this voiceover. And so my brain is like fried. I'm completely and utterly frazzled. And they are just so quick and easy to do. And they still give me, that freedom of creativity as well, which I really love. So as you can see, I've messed with the terrain for this build as well, which isn't something I do a lot because I just don't get on with the terrain. I have to be honest, it's just not my favourite thing in the world. I find it so frustrating and glitchy, and where I don't use the tool mod, I find it to be really difficult to landscape terrain as well, especially when you've raised it. And I'll explain sort of a little bit more about my frustrations with that when we get there. But as you can see, I'm building a tier 2 tiny house in Glimmerbrook. I'm on the Glimmerbrook watch lot, which is a 30 by 20. This is slightly larger a lot than I would normally build a tiny house on. But part of the reason was I wanted to build in a different world to where I normally do. And with it being a tiny house, I was just in the mood to build something sort of, witchy and whimsical. That was really my goal for it. I think when I started this was I wanted to build like a whimsical cottage, and Glimmerbrook just seemed like the perfect place to sort of build it. I do wish all of the lots in Glimmerbrook didn't have such a fancy lead up to them though. Like you'll see, like you got like the nice lights and the pathing and stuff. I wish they didn't all have that. It would be nice to have a couple of like swamp witch vibes. I think there was a couple of lots like that in Sims 3 and like the magic pack in Sims 3. And I just remember there being this one lot there, which was literally like complete swamp witch vibes. And I absolutely loved it. I wish we had swamp witch vibes here in Sims 4, but we don't. So I have made do with Glimmerbrook Watch here. I actually think this is one of the lots that is closest to the portal. So it's the lot I tend to play on myself if I'm doing a witchy game, which isn't very often. I don't really play with the occult, but if I do, it's normally for like 2 hours and then I get bored and go and do something else. But this is always a lot I go on because you don't have to travel too far to get to the portal. So yeah, this is, I think it comes out at 59 tiles out of 64. That's what it says at the top, and I don't think that changes. A lot of the outside I use the terrain paint for, and I think that just kind of adds to it without it being raised. Where it's raised up on the terrain, it adds something really nice to it. So I'm going through now, and I am just sort of trying to figure out the floor plan a little bit. I had a bit of a tough time with this because the bathroom is a different orientation to what I would normally have with a bathroom of this size. I would normally have the door sort of where the cooker is right now, or sort of in the middle of that, but instead it's on the end. And so that was a good bit of fun, but I kind of didn't really know where else to put the bathroom. And for the rest of downstairs, it is an open plan area because of where I tuck the table. I tuck the table into this little nook here with the window. And one chair kind of comes out, and I didn't really want to close it off. I did consider it, although I didn't actually put a wall down, just that fencing there, which I think is from either Strangerville or Get to Work. And your Sims can walk over it, absolutely fine, which is really nice to show that separation and that little bit of realism because, in real life, we would obviously have a separator between a wood floor and a tiled floor. That's it, tiles, isn't it? I told you my brain is completely fried, so I do apologize in advance if I go off the rails at some points in this video. Plus, this is also the second time I've actually recorded this voiceover because the first time around I did it with my face, and one of my best friends decided to butt dial our Facebook group chat. And although I muted it on my computer, apparently it was still picked up during the recording, which was great fun. So I had to nix that entire pretty much 20 minutes of my face. So I thought this time, I know I'm tired and I look tired, so I'm not going to subject you to that for this one. But you can see now in the bathroom, we've got like the older fashioned stuff. And the reason for that is that this is an accidental off the grid lot. And I say accidental because it really was. I didn't go in here with any intention other than to make this really cute witchy cottage. And as I was doing the kitchen, I knew I wanted it to be obviously like the cottage vibes, but also like a little bit older, like those older vibes. And so that's why I used the counters from the country kitchen kit. And I combined that with the base game, old style, like vintage cooker and fridge. And as I was going through, I realized that those two items were off the grid. And so I just thought to myself, hey, like, what if I made this off the grid? Like, that's kind of cool because you'll see afterwards, it's quite a natural lot. Like, there's quite a lot of natural landscaping outside. There's lots of rocks and trees and, you know, shrubbery and stuff like that. And so I did. Put the lot challenge on and I turned it to off the grid. And when I was furnishing the bathroom and doing the lighting, I selected the off the grid section in the the drop down. Because if you didn't know, if you select like the little chair and you do like the view all of all the selections instead of the rooms, this bit here, it was showing me all of the off the grid items. So I could make sure that like the cooker was off the grid, the toilet was off the grid. And of course, you know, you still have the issues that it is off the grid. And so you don't have like the water unless you add in the eco lifestyle stuff. I didn't add in like the water collector or anything like the generator from Eco Lifestyle because in my mind, this was very much a non sort of electrical, a very natural place. And I do a bit of terrain manipulation here in a minute as well, where I put in a small, like, it's not a river or a stream and it's not really a pond. It's just kind of a random bit of water. And you will see that in a minute when I get there. I'm just outside now and I'm just, I don't know. I'm like outdoorsifying, cottagifying. I've been trying to think of the right word for what I'm doing here, but I'm just covering it in a bunch of green stuff. It is pretty much what I'm doing. It's probably the only way to really describe it. I felt like this would be a very overgrown and very natural sort of house as well when I was sort of going through it. So I've sort of added in as many like vines and the wisteria from Cottage Living. I love that wisteria. I don't have any, but I do have like some old lilac bushes. And when I say old lilac bushes, I don't think the previous owner of my house ever cut them when she was here. And they're just sort of like coming to the end of their flowering, but they're like this gorgeous explosion of purple. And every time I use the wisteria in this game, it makes me think of those bushes. And they're such short-lived. It's such a nice thing. So yeah. So we're just going through the outside now, adding some of the white flowers as well, just for a little bit of something different. The flower boxes are from the Werewolves pack. I got to use a couple of those items in this build and I was really excited about that because I quite like a lot of the Werewolves items, but I don't get to use them very often because I feel like they're very specific. Like, I feel like you can only really use them in these kinds of builds or, you know, really run down, like fixer-upper builds where you're sort of really making it rough anyway. So I had a lot of fun being able to actually incorporate those because I actually really love them. I think they did a really good job and they're some of my favourite flower boxes. Like the fact that they're in little drawers is so cute to me. I'm outside now and I'm messing with the terrain again. And when I tell you this was the absolute bane of my existence, this was the absolute bane of my existence. I hate the terrain manipulation in The Sims 4. And I don't know if it's because I'm not very good at it or I just don't fully understand it. I can't get on with it. It is so difficult for me and I just have so many fights with it like all the time. So I knew when I was doing this, I wanted the Sim who lived here to have a garden because again, you know, it's a witch and we have the seed packet that came with Realm of Magic as well. So there's like magical herbs. I think it's herbs that you can grow and I'm assuming they help with like potions or something. Like I said, I haven't played the pack really. And I think the last time I played it, it was like when it first came out. And so I knew anyway that I wanted to have a garden out here and I didn't have enough when I put the cauldron outside because the cauldron needs quite a lot of squares and I didn't have enough of the grid inside the house to do that. And I really wanted to sort of keep it under the 64 tiles, which you can see now that the bridge from one side of the terrain to the other raised terrain has taken us up to 64 tiles. And that was honestly just a happy accident. I didn't intend for that. And I didn't even think about that when I sort of did the house the way I did. So I'm really happy I did keep it under to allow for the bridge there. And I really like this. So you've got like this nice little area here outside where the cauldron is, which of course you can cook in as well if you're a witch, because who doesn't need a cauldron-sized pot of mac and cheese? That sounds like a great idea if you ask me. And you've also got the handiwork table, like the woodworking table and the flower arranging table. I don't really know why I put those in. I guess they were just skill building items that kind of fit a little bit. And I don't know, I just have this vision of this witch who makes little wooden sculptures and arranges flowers while she's gardening. That just seems like a reasonable, realistic sort of combination to me. Now I've got that place down, I am doing some of the landscaping, and this was the next bane of my existence. As I said at the very beginning, I don't do this very often because I have so many fights with the terrain with landscaping. And you can see now I'm just sizing up and down some of the base game rocks to try and hide it a little bit and make it just a little bit more natural. I don't have the tool mod, and despite my insistence that I'm going to download it and I'm going to learn it for the landscaping purposes, I never have. And quite honestly, I don't know if I ever will. I don't think I'm patient enough to learn it. Like, I have all these great big grand ideas of learning all of these mods and all of these fancy skills, and I just can't do it. It's really a miracle that I learned how to edit videos to open this channel and that I've stuck with it for this long, and I have not got fed up with it. In fact, I actually quite enjoy it. And, you know, it helps me with books being able to do it as well, because I've now expanded finally into TikTok, which one of my best friends is very happy about because she's been telling me forever to use TikTok and I just don't understand it. So now I can make my own videos without having to put my face on them, and I think I kind of get it a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, I don't do all of the landscaping on camera. Part of that, I'll admit, is because I did have to stop halfway through, probably to stop my kids from attempting to seriously hurt each other, which sadly is a far too common occurrence. But anyway, I think I had to stop to try and stop them from fighting and trying to hurt one another. So, and then I came back and I forgot to hit record again, but it also worked out because you'll see that I've had a couple of floating bushes, and I was getting really, really frustrated with the bushes and the plants floating. And I didn't want to put all of that in camera, all of like my fighting with all of the landscaping. So you do sort of come back now, and I have got all of the trees in place. That was me saving because I realised I hadn't saved. So I'm in the back garden now, and I'm just adding some lamps around because I realised this is off the grid. And a few of these lights, I did check to make sure that all of these lights do work off the grid. And I do delete the saucer lights that are inside the house as well. Don't worry. As a side note, that mailbox from Werewolves, adorable. I'm obsessed with it. I absolutely love it. I'm bringing some of the outside brick inside now. I know it doesn't technically match up to what's on the outside, but we're just going to ignore that and pretend that doesn't happen. I wanted to have a really natural inside here, and so this is why I've largely gone for the bricks for the main wall colours. I just didn't really feel like wallpaper or the panelling or anything like that was really going to fit in this house. And because it's very natural, and with it being off the grid, I just thought like the bricks kind of work. Like maybe they've kept some of the brick exposed, maybe they've painted the other brick. I don't know, but I'd kind of liked that idea. And it's definitely very cottagey. Like, this is the kind of place I can also see like a grandma, like an elder witch living, maybe. There is only one bed, and the entirety of the second floor is all the large bedroom. I tried at the very beginning of the video to kind of shut it down a little bit, as you could see, and just bringing the bathroom upstairs. I didn't think I needed 2 bathrooms in a house this small. And so I just kept it downstairs, and we have the little gardening area at the back here as well, which is really nice with the pond. I do love the pond. I always forget to change like the colour of the water when I do ponds, but here I wanted it to have like that mossy sort of the witchy vibe. I keep saying it, and it was like my daughter was laughing at me because I was building this in the living room, and she kept saying, what are you building? What are you building? Like, because if you don't know, she is a huge simmer and loves to challenge me to do builds. I actually have one on the channel, so I will link that in the description box down below for you in case you want to watch me build a house dictated by a 12-year-old. And she kept asking me what I was building, what I was doing, and she laughed because the only way I could describe it in my mind at that time was whimsical. And in the end, she kind of was like, so it was whimsical. And I was like, yeah, that's it. That was my brief for this build. And you know what? I think I nailed it. I don't often do builds that are this overgrown and this like, wow, in terms of like the trees and the landscaping and stuff, because I tend to build houses, like normal houses. Even with cottages, I don't tend to do this much. And so it was really fun to just kind of like let loose and go crazy with it. I'm inside, I'm just adding a bit of clutter. I do add a bit of clutter to this inside counter as well. And I don't add too much. I think I add what's kind of realistic. I think I add like one of the cooking pots. Yes, I've got the cooking pot there. I think that's from Cottage Living. If not, it's from the cottage kitchen, the country kitchen pack. And then I think I just add a couple of other really sort of small things. Yeah, like some utensils, and the plates I think do go, because I go through at the end and I add the potion bottles from the Realm of Magic debug. You'll have seen the little clips at the very beginning. In live mode, they have like the cutest little like smoky spirally like symbols coming out of the bottles. And I just think that's such a cool addition. And I really liked that. And I thought they would really add something to this house. So I did do that, which I think looks really great. The bathroom is extremely simple. I didn't clutter it up very much. I added the necessary toilet paper and a couple of things on the sink. It just didn't really need very much. And I was very happy to be able to use the werewolf curtains. I haven't used them. And again, they're one of those items that you can't really use elsewhere. Like, you can't use them in many builds. They're definitely the kind of thing that is used in a build like this, or maybe in like an attic or something. So I was really happy to be able to use those because I haven't done that. And I loved being able to bring up the vine curtains here from the plant kit, I think they're from. I liked it, like, as well as of like the I'm trying to think of the word for the curtains from the high school kit, like the ones, not the high school kit, oh my god, the high school pack, the ones that are on the windows in the corners. That's it. They're like an organza kind of material, I guess. They're more of like a netting than an actual curtain. And I think that sort of added, they kind of mixed really well up here, as well as the high school years rug, bringing a little bit of the inside out. No, I'm not bringing the inside out. I was bringing the outside in. Thank goodness we're almost at the end of this video, because my brain is going. It is really going. Yes, anyway, with that being said, we are coming to the end of the video, and there are going to be some screenshots of some close-up bits and bobs of the house for you to see at the end. The house is fully play tested and is available on my gallery. My gallery ID is EmmaHart121. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel for more Sims 4 content. I have plenty more Sims 4 speed builds coming up for you. And here's the potion bottles going in. I love them so much. They're so cute. Yes, anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.